Hello everyone, my name is Evelyn Johnson. We are at Harriston State University in the
Wolf Jazz Institute
Wolf Jazz Institute
and National Black Radio Hall of Fame.
and the National Black Radio Hall of Fame. I have with me today, Columbus Gregory, Bernie Hayes. This young gentleman right here is John Jackson, who I'm hoping he's not on camera right now, but you'll meet him soon. And then there's a young man over in the corner named Doug Easton. You may hear his voice go off from time to time, but I'll try to sneak and get you all a visual of him later on. So we're talking about black radio. In the United States first, because Bernie, you're not from St. Louis.
No,
Where?
I'm from Chicago.
From Chicago?
Yes, but I came here from San Francisco.
From San Francisco. So you, in Chicago, moved to San Francisco?
Chicago, then moved to New York, then to Louisiana, then back to Chicago, then to San Francisco, then to St. Louis.
And what time frame?
1956 through the present day.
To the present day?
Mm-hmm.
Was it easy to move around in
No,
1956?
it was not easy at all. Yeah, Jim Crow segregation. You had all kind of things working against you, black people. And they've only haven't changed that much either. But
Wow.
you can travel a little more freely, but
Just a
it
little
was
more.
difficult,
free.
yeah.
1950s. That does not seem like a long time ago for these Jim Crow laws, because I know I was born in '68. Mr. Columbus Gregory, you're not originally from St. Louis, Missouri either.
Oh, no.
Okay, well, tell me about your story.
Oh, my hometown is Forest City, Arkansas.
Okay.
Wow. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
About 38 miles from Memphis, West Memphis.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So how did you end up in St. Louis?
Wow, that's a good question because I got tired of picking cotton.
Wait a minute. What year was this? What year was this?
That was in 1950 when I finished high school, and 1950, about the half of the year, I had to go into the Army.
Okay.
And when I got my basic, I had to go overseas.
Okay.
While overseas in Korea, I did not. When I came back home in 1952, I did not want to pick any more cotton.
Still picking cotton in the early 50s.
Yeah, they were.
Still picking cotton in the early 50s.
They were, but I didn't.
I had no idea.
Oh, yes. And so that's when I had a cousin in St. Louis, and I decided I would come and live with. Well, I was on my way to Washington to live, but I stopped in St. Louis, and that's as far as I've gotten.
Okay, now I forgot to ask you, what made you come to St. Louis?
I was on my way to Los Angeles. I was working in San Francisco, KSOL in San Francisco, and I was going to go to a station in Los Angeles, but Ron Ells, who was known as Johnny Rabbit here in St. Louis, Missouri,
Okay.
he had heard me on the radio in San Francisco when he was working in Oakland. So when he returned to St. Louis to KATZ, one of the disc jockeys was leaving, so he suggested that they contact me in San Francisco and asked if I would come here. And that was April 1965. And I decided, well, St. Louis is close to my home in Chicago. I'll go there and I'll stay about a year.
Okay.
And that's turned into 53.
Wow. So both of you all come to visit.
Yeah.
And now you're still here today.
Yeah.
Made some wonderful names from yourself, recording artists. Very well known in the community here. So St. Louis has a staying power, bewitched you, is that it? Was it the women?
I think it was the climate and the atmosphere. I know one thing, had I come here in the summertime feeling the heat level of St. Louis, I never would have stayed.
Okay.
So it was a cool April when I got here. What kept me in St. Louis, Missouri was the opportunities. There were so many opportunities here.
For African Americans?
In radio, for blacks in radio, because we did so many innovative things.
For blacks, yes.
Yeah,
Let me
sure.
rephrase that. African American really does
Black,
not
colored, Negroes, whatever.
denote
We would call a bunch of things at that
the
time.
descendants of slaves here
Yeah,
in America.
right.
Yeah. It could mean you're from Africa and you decided to come over here to America.
Right.
And it's white Africans too. So
Precisely.
we're not going to use that term African American
Okay.
in this conversation. Blacks.
Okay.
So, gospel
Mm-hmm.
and
Soul,
soul,
Mm-hmm.
jazz.
jazz. How did you two come to meet each other?
Well, Columbus was working. It seems like I've known Columbus ever since I've been in St. Louis.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, he was established here when I got here in 1965.
Okay.
And it was a pleasure for me to meet Columbus at that time. So I've known him since I got here.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, he was at KATZ and I came to KATZ. Yes.
Yeah, I started.
Yeah.
I started at KTZ in 1959.
Mhm.
Okay.
Lou Father Times and I was going to college together,
Okay.
and I used to hang around KATZ when I wasn't in radio, and I did my 30-minute program on Sundays. That's how I started hanging around, and Lou told me, he says, Columbus is an opening at the station. You need to check it out. And I went down and got the job. 1959.
Fantastic.
1959.
So now you had a singing group.
Mm-hmm.
Did that get started before or after you decided
Oh, before.
to pursue radio?
Oh, it started after. Yeah, it was in the 60s when I started that. Yeah.
Did radio help you?
Oh, yeah.
Your knowledge?
Mhm.
So did you all tour the United States?
Hmm?
Did you tour the United States?
We went to Saginaw, Michigan, Detroit, Michigan, went to Mississippi, we went to, yes, we did. We went to quite a few places.
Fantastic.
Uh-huh.
And Mr. Bernie,
Mhm.
you're a recording artist yourself.
Yes, former.
Mhm.
Former recording artist.
Right.
I've heard some of your music.
Yeah.
And we were discussing pioneers like yourself being some of the originators of rap.
Right.
See, a lot of the disc jockeys would be rhyming. Jimmy Bishop. E. Ronnie Jones. Everyone was a rhymer more or less at the time. Steve Bird. We just rhymed as we presented the songs,
Okay.
and that came naturally. And then all of a sudden, in later, the Sugar Hill Gang came out of
Yes.
Newark, New Jersey.
Let me see.
And Joe and Silver Robinson and their kids did rapping. But when we heard the first song, when we first heard that, we just figured there were some guys who were copying disc jockeys.
Okay.
Then it became a subgenre, then it came a subculture, then it became a culture. It's just culture in its all now.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's what they copy that from what they heard on different radio
Disc
stations.
jockeys, all of these people out here
Yeah.
think they got the in on hip hop and rap. Disc jockeys.
Yeah, well, it came from, we started it, and they picked up on it and made a wonderful thing out of it.
Yes. Now there's a commercial
Yeah.
that's airing now.
Yes.
Heineken commercial.
Right.
They're walking around by the pool, and that's your song
Yeah, one of my songs.
playing in the background.
Cool Strut. Yeah.
Cool Strut, you guys. Look it up. Now I'm making this not only to be posted to Harris Stowe's website, but also so that I can show my students. I teach here public speaking.
Mhm.
And so I wanted to give them a very up-to-date, something to see,
Mhm.
so they can get an understanding on the conversation.
Mhm.
The conversation aspect of public speaking, whether you are giving a lecture or interviewing,
Mhm.
like I'm doing you guys
Sure.
here,
Mhm.
or even interviewing for a job. It's a
Mhm.
conversation. It's about having the ability to even if it's just a one-way conversation.
Are you into allowing your students to do interviews so that they can actually interact and interface with people like Bernie Hayes and Columbus Gregory?
Well, they will get an opportunity. I have some people coming into the class. A young lady by the name of Tanya Martin. She's actually started a reading room for her focus is on African American authors
I thought you were going to say
in
black.
elementary. Black authors in elementary school. So she's coming in. Of course, you're on campus, so you can come in anytime you get ready.
Yeah.
Of course, I know you. I'm not going to tell y'all how I know him. But I know you. And of course, Doug Easton, when you all get the notion
Dr.
and
John
want
Jackson.
to come to Dr. John
Jackson.
and want to come to class, feel free anytime.
Well, we're going to take you at your word and come
Yes.
because I think what both Bernie and Columbus have done, those things are wonderful, and of course we wouldn't forget Doug. Now Doug has known me since I was a small guy.
Me too.
You're younger than Doug.
Yeah.
Everybody in here is younger than Doug.
But
With wisdom and knowledge.
yeah, but the thing is, it's important for students to understand the role of black radio
Yes.
in not only in St. Louis, throughout the country.
Yes.
We did not have an opportunity to have the MSNBC and internet and all of those things, and so it was the fate and the role of the disc jockeys to
Yes.
bring that message, how to vote, when to vote,
Wow.
to watch out for the problems that were occurring in the community.
Yes.
So black awareness started with disc jockeys, and again, perhaps Bernie can talk a little bit more about that. He's written a book, The Death of Black Radio,
Yes.
but what he's really saying is that black radio started a lot of things, helped a lot of people, and he's not willing to see that role diminish. So Bernie, just talk a little bit about that.
Yeah.
Well, this says it all. Black radio, perhaps if you read that, and that we were the support system for the African American community and the community at large, and we would support not only local artists or national or internationally known artists, but we were a religious segment too. And Columbus Gregory played a very profound role in keeping religion in the African American community and to
Yes,
the people.
you did.
You know, we're spiritual people. We're very intellectual and spiritual people, and religion and radio played a profound role in uplifting the people who needed
Yes,
to be
it
uplifted
did.
at the time.
Yes, it did. I can remember, if nothing else, in those moments, you know, just being able to come home, turn the radio on, kick back with all the lights off,
Oh my God.
help you get through some of those issues that you're
Yes.
dealing with
Yes.
just in life on a regular basis.
We just didn't entertain. We also educated,
Yes.
and we brought knowledge
Yes, yes.
to the community and needed information, because you need to know where to go to get your lights turned back on. You need to know where to go.
You hear
to
that?
get food
Community,
stamps. You know how to
community.
get
Everybody is,
services from the community. Yeah.
sorry for cutting you off, Bernie, but everybody's really into the recent death of Aretha.
Yes.
But Aretha embodied, if you think about the two people that are sitting beside you, she embodied both the spiritual and also the jazz and the blues. And it was not uncommon for that to happen on black radio.
No.
And of course, Aretha came from a church and all of that business. But when you listen to her sing, you can hear the roots.
Yes.
When you listen to her
Right.
sing gospel still, you say, my goodness, Amazing Grace
Yes.
is really Amazing Grace.
Yes.
Precious Lord, take my
Precious
hand.
Lord, take my hand.
Yeah.
Those are songs that we all know from our religious experience.
Right.
But you can hear some of those same riffs when she's singing Respect. You can
Ain't
hear
no
some-
way.
And ain't no way you can hear some of those same.
Which is a big message in that song.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
So
yes, it is.
so all I know is that black radio had an indelible print on the black community and continues to have an indelible print.
Yes, it does. When I was in Youngstown, Ohio, for a moment, I believe I mentioned this to you too. Frankie Halfaker of Stop 26 Riverbed
Sure.
in Youngstown, Ohio. he had WRBP, WGFT in Youngstown. And they were trying to, I think it was Radio 1 or someone big like that, blocking out, doing blackouts on their time.
Sure.
And they couldn't air. And being a part of that community, I actually had an opportunity to write for radio, do some commercials, and we ran a campaign for them to have Frankie's station considered a monument.
Great.
You know, it was fantastic.
He deserves it.
Yes, so I understand from my point of view, even though it was short-lived, I still had that opportunity to engage in radio, to move the community, to safeguard the African American, the black culture
Great.
here in America.
And think about the possibility of you not having had that experience. It made you a better instructor.
Yes.
It made you a person that could utilize the language very well, and you actually develop the skills of writing.
Yes.
And so I know is what you're trying to impart to your students, but that is a very, very experiential way of doing that kind of stuff.
Yes, yes it is. Now, let me get back. You mentioned in the conversation we were having, Spider-Burks. Spider-Burks. And I know that gentleman over there, Doug Easton, knows something about Spider-Burks.
Yes.
And I know this young man. But you said Spider-Burks actually, you heard him while you were overseas.
Yes, that was the first time I heard the name Spider-Burks, and they knew him and they talked about him. But I'd never been to St. Louis, and fortunately I wound up in St. Louis, and when I started working at 1600 KATZ, I was Spider-Burks' remote engineer.
Wow.
Over at the Blue Note Club in East St. Louis, and he was wise. He was a man of, oh my God, everybody loves Spider-Burks.
Yes, but you were in Korea when you first heard him.
When I first heard about him,
So we're talking about.
I never heard of the name of Spider-Burks until over there, and I wound up working with him.
And that encouraged you.
Oh yeah, it was just amazing to hear a man I never seen, heard, but I heard about him way over there, 6,000 miles away from home,
Yes.
and came to St. Louis where he was, and I wound up working for him as his engineer. It was awesome.
Fantastic. And now you knew Spider-Burks as well.
Well, I replaced Spider at the Blue Note.
Okay.
Yeah,
Now the Blue Note was
4200 Missouri Avenue in East St. Louis, Illinois.
East St. Louis in the house.
Yeah.
East St.
On
Louis.
the edge of Allerton, yes.
Doug, you sure you don't have anything to chime in over there? East St. Louis in the. We have some guests. Who's here with us?
Oh, I'm sorry. One of the guests standing is actually an alum of Harris Stowe,
Wonderful.
Loretta McPherson, and she knows about music firsthand.
Here in the
She
city?
she used to play an instrument, but she also went back to school to become an educator. And you was talking about people that could come to your class. She'd
Yes.
be glad to come.
You would.
And she also has a position with the Black Radio Hall of Fame.
Oh. Well, you're going to have to be another documentary. We're going to get you documented, young lady. So, isn't this fantastic? And no, I'm not doing this in an orthodox manner because, Harris Stowe is not an orthodox school. So, we have some wonderful history and some wonderful power that we have not tapped into. And the one thing I want to do is I've always heard this conversation about this generational gap. Well, it's time to close it, I think. It's time to close it. So that's the purpose of this. Is to close this supposed. I don't think it exists. I just, that's, people, you go to the doctor and if he tell you you're sick, you think you're sick. I think that's what's going on. But and then of course I know us youngsters get on y'all old heads' nerves sometimes the way we act, so that could be the divide too. But did you get a shot of Doug Easton trying to sneak out of here?
Hey, he's still a player.
We were.
Hey,
We're gonna
a
get
lovely
him.
young lady stepped inside the door,
Yeah.
and he did what was necessary. He
You
walked
hear
over
me?
and kissed her.
Fantastic. Okay, so listen. We are going to wrap this up for just today. Yes, just today.
Listen, you I know you're getting ready to cut it off,
Yeah.
but here's a current Harris Stowe student
Yeah.
who comes down here
Regularly.
and on a regular basis. And we got another lovely young lady.
You all
here, too.
volunteer down here? Mm-mm.
They just come in to make sure they're trying to close that gap between the old and the
See,
new.
come stick your heads in. Come on over here. Come
go.
on. Oh
You
yes,
are
Nene from the
easy.
choir. I told her she called me Mimi. So this is Nene, and what's your name, dear?
Jasmine.
This is Jasmine, closing that generational gap. We're going to make sure that you all know who our elders are, who have paved the way for us to be here, doing what we do today, and the gratitude that we owe them, huh?
You know, when we do the wing flings, already we're gonna ask some people to sing and some people to do some spoken word,
all
and
right.
we'd like to try to get some people from your class to do some spoken
We
word.
will do that. We will do that.
And those, Bernie can tell you more about the wing flings, and we want to open every show with some young people.
That sounds wonderful.
I definitely know some people that would love to do spoken word.
Really?
Yes.
Well, we'll get that on top of everything. Okay, now, ladies, can you all make room for? Come on in here. Get your face on camera right quick. You all will see some more of this happening at Harris Stowe. We'll get grander. Now, this is my first time meeting her. What's your name again?
Loretta Person.
Smile, Loretta. Look at the
Loretta.
cat. This is Loretta. Tell us just a little bit, Loretta.
Okay, I'm a alumni of Harris. I was here when it was Harris Teachers College.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay, that's fantastic.
Yes, when it was Harris Teachers College, and I got my certification here in education and special education.
Fantastic.
Okay.
Fantastic.
And so now I'm back. And also, I grew up listening to
These
these
gentlemen.
gentlemen on the radio.
I know,
yes, I
right?
Did. Yes,
I know,
did.
right? Fantastic.
Yes.
Well, class and the rest of the world, I'm hoping that you all will get a chance to chime in with us all the way over in Japan, in Asia, in Egypt, in France. So like, share, so we can get this information and this encouragement out to everyone that may be from St. Louis, but for some reason the life has them in other areas of the world. Okay, peace and hair grease.